Good afternoon. We are here to give you some feedback on your math lesson. Um, so let's start with the objectives of the lesson. You presented students with the objective to determine the volume for a cone and to determine the formula for the volume of a cone. I felt like all of your learning objectives were clearly stated and they were presented to students. They connected to previously learned material. The 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 equation was given to them, and they clearly knew it from before. They had seen it before. They were familiar with it. They commented on it. Um, Students were asked about previously learned content. They clearly understood the process that was going on. Your students actually helped you fill in the blanks, clearing things up for you. I felt like you motivated students really well. You developed a learning experience where students were allowed to inquire and use curiosity and explore. Their opinions were valued, and again, you asked them to answer some of the questions for you. And you stated that, why am I doing this? I thought it was nice, and they picked it up and they answered along, which was great. And also, starting off with the joke really put the class at ease, allowed them to feel comfortable and safe, and taking risks and asking questions. As students submitted their answers, you said good job, and you reinforced their work and really reassured them and gave them confidence. I thought the content was presented clearly. Visuals established the purpose of the lesson. Again, you presented them with the objective. You read it out to them. You explained it. You told them exactly what it was going to do. And then you modeled the lesson, showing them the equation, showing them the question that was being asked of them, giving them a good visual representation of the cone, with showing them the radius and the height. I thought that was great. You explained the objective of the activity. The pacing was brisk, and it provided opportunities for individual students to progress and ask questions. Again, they were answering along. As you transitioned into the activity, I thought giving the students the option of taking a more challenging route and working on their own, or working with some hints, or just staying in the room and working with you. I thought that was a great idea. It allowed students to kind of take control of their own learning. The activities and the materials supported the lesson objectives. They were challenging. You also gave students, again, a choice to pursue more challenging opportunities. I think where I see some room for growth was the questioning. Some of your questions, or most of the questions, were comprehensive questions or recall questions. Students weren't really challenged to analyze or synthesize the material. You could present students with questions that were a little bit more challenging, allow them to think more critically, rather than just recall or just recite information that was being presented to them. You could also provide it in a more game-like way, maybe, that allowed them to kind of manipulate things or kind of get into the material on their own, rather than just seeing the material or being told the material. I felt like your feedback was really good. You were reassuring. You gave them a good job. You told them when they were correct, and encouraged them to keep working, encouraged others to answer. Your grouping of your students was good. Again, as you transitioned into the activity, it allowed students to take the more challenging route. Allowed them to kind of choose for themselves how they wanted to be grouped or where they felt like they belonged. Your content knowledge was really good. You displayed extensive knowledge. Your ability to manipulate the activity that was the joke into spelling out pizza, I thought was creative and was a lot of fun. And again, allowed students to feel comfortable and created a great learning environment, a comfortable learning environment. Um, you implemented subject specific instructions, giving them the equation, allowing copying and pasting it, bringing it over, allowing students to kind of interact with it and change things as you were writing them in. You know, the student who was typing it in, making it look nice and neat for you. Um, your knowledge of your students, I thought was really good. You calling them out by name. You seemed to have a very good rapport with them, joking around with them. Everybody was polite and friendly. It created a very welcoming environment. Your differentiated instructional methods. Um, I thought like this was another area of growth, maybe having more, again, video, interactive, something more manipulative for the students to kind of get into. You did read it and modeled it well. And then again, giving students the opportunity to choose for themselves how they wanted to progress in the activity. Overall, I thought it was a really good job. I see a lot of potential for students